Dr. Tara Satyavati, could you kindly take the stage, please, on the dais? Dr. M. Govindaraj from ICRISAT, welcome. Dr. Srijit Mishra, yes, from IGIDR Mumbai. Dr. Ravi Kesavan from TNAU Coimbatore. Dr. Prabhavati of MSSRF will join us in a bit. Dr. Samuel Sampath Kumar Patro, AARCP on small millets, head from Vijayanagaram. Ms. Raimati Ghuria from Koraput. She here? You can, she will join us on stage. So over to you, Dr. Pada, and you may take it ahead from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really a great honor and privilege to be chairing this very distinguished panel, and once again, thank you to the Swaminathan Foundation for inviting me to this very important event. As it was mentioned, we don't have much time, but this session will answer some of the important questions that were raised before. How do we promote millet? We learned a lot about the in situ, ex situ conservation part, and we've heard from Irish about the challenges of the farmers, and many of the speakers mentioned, among other, for example, productivity, technologies, agronomy. And this section is really about the crop improvement, production technologies, and sustainable intensification of millets in the era of climate change. And so I hope that several of the questions that were asked before and that remain pending from the previous panel will be answered by this distinguished panel. And without further ado, I will invite Dr. Tara Satyavati to give her remarks. She's a distinguished agricultural scientist. She holds a PhD in genetics. She's renowned for her work in pearl millet breeding and improvement. She's been on this field for 28 years, teaching research and administering research. She has more than 150 research papers. She authored 3 books, and she contributed to various technical bulletins and articles. Dr. Satyavati's efforts have led to the development of high nutrient content pearl millet hybrids and varieties, benefiting rural women and children nutritional security. Her exceptional contribution have earned her numerous awards and recognitions, including the Dr. Panjab Rao Deshmukh Outstanding Women Scientist Award and the MS Swaminathan Woman Scientist Award. So give her a big round of applause. Dr. Tara, the floor is yours, and 5 minutes.
A very good afternoon to you all, and thank you for the generous introduction. As the time is short, I would just flip through many of the things. So I was asked to give a talk on the millet improvement in India. As you all know that we have major millets and minor millets, major millets being sorghum, pearl millet and ragi, and minor millets foxtail, kodo, little, barnyard, proso and brown top millets. So you all are also aware that they are being renamed as Nutri-Cereals through a Gazette notification in 2018, and also now they have been elevated to the status of Shri Ann by Honorable Prime Minister of India. If you look into the global millet stats, they are grown in about 89.17 million hectares, with about 74 million hectares and 89.17 million ton production. And India is the 5th largest exporter of millets. And in India also, if you see in the states, a total of 13.63 million hectares is under millet cultivation, with a production of 18.02 million tons and a productivity of 1322 kgs per hectare. And the major states growing millets are Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, UP, MP, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Haryana, and so on. And if you look into the millet map of the total area in the millets, about 54% of area is occupied by pearl millet, followed by sorghum, about 34%, then followed by ragi for about 7.3%, and then small millets. And from the production perspective also, bajra occupies, that is pearl millet occupies about 60%, it contributes to the 60%, and then followed by sorghum to extent of 27.4%, and then ragi to a tune of 10.2%, followed by small millets. So there is a constant increase in production and productivity of millets in spite the decline in area, and you can see the figures, they themselves speak about the improvement. And here, if you look into the cultivars of millet crops notified during the past 10-12 years, starting from 2010 to 2023, we have a number of cultivars being released in pearl millet to an extent of 65 national releases out of 94 cultivars, and so on and so forth. 113 are from national releases out of the total 262 cultivars being released. And how is it happening, this millet genetic improvement? It is happening through the National Millet Research Network under the Indian Institute of Millets Research, which is again having 3 All India coordinated research projects, one on pearl millet, other on sorghum, and the other third one on the small millets. And till date, we have about 144 central releases from the sorghum ASRP, 257 central releases from ASRP and pearl millet, and 118 central releases from ASRP and small millets. Apart from this, we also have many state releases which have not been included here. And if you look into the pearl millet area, it is grown globally in an area of 30.93 million hectares with a production of 30.09 million tons and 973 kg per hectare productivity. And India, it is grown to an extent of 7.4 million hectares with a production of 9.35 million tons and productivity of 1391 kg per hectare. And here, this is the fourth important food crop in India, following rice, wheat and maize. And if you see, the major states growing are Rajasthan, Maharashtra, UP, MP, Gujarat and others. And when we talk of millet improvement, we need to see what are the areas where these millets are grown and what are the genotypes which should be, what are the cultivars that would be suitable for these areas. So in pearl millet, we have different product profiles catering to the needs of A1 zone, A zone, B zone and summer pearl millet. Because of the paucity of time, I am not going to go in detail. So this is the product profile of A1 zone where we prefer less than 45 days duration maturity flowering. Then in the A zone we go for 50 to 60 days less than 50 days duration of maturity, and then B zone also the same thing, whereas AB zone late maturity we go for those cultivars which come to flowering for more than 50 days. And in the summer ecology, this is the segment which is there in about 4 lakh hectares in the Gujarat where they take it after potato cultivation. And pearl millet is also a good fodder crop, and these are the beautiful characters we look into when we talk of fodder crop. And there is a constant increase in production productivity in pearl millet starting from 1951-55 to till date. And there is a beautiful graph which you can see here which supports the statements of increased production and productivity in spite of decrease in area. And here I would like to touch upon and emphasize that when the country is looking for nutritional security, now this is the time where we have to transform from food security to nutritional security, and it is this crop where we have mainstreamed the nutritional traits. And for the first time anywhere in the world or anywhere in the crop, we have come up with the first of its kind policy in cultivar development where we have come up with benchmark levels of grain micronutrient, that is grain iron it should be minimum 42 ppm and grain zinc should be 32 ppm. That means any variety or any cultivar which is promoted in the coordinated trials or which is identified in the coordinated trials in case of pearl millet should have minimum of 42 ppm iron and 32 ppm zinc. Coming to sorghum, again it is grown in about globally 41.55 million hectares with a production of 64.36 million tons and 1548 kgs per hectare productivity. And again in India, sorghum, for grain sorghum it is grown on 4.37 million hectares and for a sorghum it is for 4 million hectares. And these are the different segments of sorghum which we look into: grain sorghum in the Kharif, Rabi, and then we also have summer grain sorghum, forest sorghum, single cut, multi cut, many things. And these are the sorghum product profiles we are looking at And this is how the breeders try to bring out the material for different agroecologies. And these are the latest cultivars of the grain sorghum hybrids for Kharif.
So
And
you
these
need
are
to
the one for,
conclude.
yeah. And these are the post-rainy sorghum product profiles. And these are the prominent sorghum product profiles for forage. And then finger millet. Because I have to cover many crops, just give me 2 minutes. I'll be completing. This is the finger millet. This is the global area, 22 lakh hectares, and in India it is about 12.32 lakh hectares. And these are the different traits we look into for finger millet. And because finger millet, the spikelet is very small and it is very difficult to go for artificial hybridization, but still standardization of hybridization techniques has been done at IIMR. And then these are the product profiles for different maturity groups. Here also we have early, medium and late for south and north regions. And these are the latest finger millet varieties. And these are the newly released finger millet varieties. Coming to foxtail millet, again, this is again a short duration millet growing, completing in 80 to 85 days. And at the global level, it is grown in 1 million hectare. And in India, it is grown in about 13,990 hectares. And these are the two product profiles we target, early and medium. And these are the latest varieties released in the past 10 years. Coming to barnyard millet, again, it is grown in both northern and southern plains. And this is India is the only country growing in barnyard millet. Very few other places we have barnyard millet in the world. And in India also, these are the states taking up barnyard millet cultivation. And these are the problems we have, but still we are able to come up with a number of varieties. And these are the latest varieties of barnyard millet. Proso millet is one more important millet which is of very short duration, and this is grown in many countries across the world, and it is occupying about 6.8 million hectares, and in India it is occupying about 0.4 million hectares. And these are the prominent varieties of Proso millet. And these are the three product profiles, early, medium, and late maturity categories. Coming to Kodo millet,
Sorry,
again,
but really I need
yes,
to ask you to...
last one. So this is very difficult to take up crossing and development of varieties. Still we have a number of varieties. And these are the latest Kodo millet varieties, little millet. India is the leading country, and these are the profiles. And these are the latest varieties. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Eat millets and stay healthy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for making an effort to summarize such a dense, rich presentation in such a short time. And I'm really sorry I have a very unpleasant job to interrupt you. It's now Dr. Govindaraj. He is a senior scientist in Harvest Plus at the Alliance of Biodiversity in SIAT. I will cut it very short, his introduction. But I think what is really important is that he has really significantly contributed to biofortification of millets, so improving nutrition. And also I would like to mention that he was recognized with the prestigious Norman Borlaug Award for Field Research and Application in 2022. So Dr. Govindaraj, the floor is yours.
A very good afternoon. So I'm here to talk about the millet and how it is relevant to the climate and nutrition. Yesterday and today, sorry, not visible?
No, because of some other conditions.
It's come. So biofortification, it's all talk about the nutrition. People thinks, but not the case alone, It is talk about on top of yield and other resistant traits, and we are bringing the nutritional traits as a need for the people. So biofortification is nothing but people, many of the consumer or other people is confused with the nutrition in terms of fortification and biofortification. Biofortification is more of genetic approach, which is pre-harvest, whereas a fortification play a role in the post-harvest, but the goal is same. So we have to choose wisely which one we want. But my presentation talk about the biofortifications. The problem statement, all we know that, more than 2 billion people are deficient of one or more other micronutrient and vitamins. They largely reside in the country like, low and middle income countries. So the issue is we need to optimize the food production, the agriculture-centric nutrition agenda in every nation. Therefore, it is a key agenda to be food production. It should be optimized. It's not Harvest Plus or CGR or NOR's responsibility. It is everybody's responsibility. We all know that, Constitution of India is clearly mentioned in Article 47. Every state has a primary duty to raise the nutrition level and improve the public health. So we all know that the system in place, but we have to integrate more holistic way. Coming to the climate change, and the climate change really it is in front of us in one or other forms. But we need to understand why it is happening, and also we need to be prepared for tomorrow. So here I put the nutrition and the traits, which is predicted based on the various model and published in the Nature Climate Change. So based on the major 3 nutrient, protein, iron, and zinc, in most of the stable crops, it shows that we are going to add close to 2 billion people to the existing population as a micronutrient deficient. So are we moving in the right direction? That's a question we need to put where the food production is driven. So millet get opportunity one or other way in the dry land and also the nutrition aspect. Coming to the biofortifications, we can't do it on random basis. We need to prioritize the trade, population, and geography. Therefore, it is very important to use the interactive tool, which is available, very open access, and which is done for more than 128 countries for almost 13 crops. So one can use this as an investment plan from the donor side or policymakers or the agriculture scientists and research. The prioritization starts with the baseline. Unless you have the baseline, we can't measure the progress. So therefore, the baseline is very important. So I've given you some examples, zinc, iron, and provitamin crops. The blue.
Professor's birthday cutting is happening just a past.
Okay.
Sorry about
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Take a break.
Yeah. Okay.
We just take a break.
Okay.
Till the tea cutting is over.
Okay.
Go back to Govindra, just stop right now.
Okay.
Sorry. Dr. Hari, we have paused for a moment. We are watching Professor's birthday celebration from here. We wish him very happy birthday, Professor. The delegates of the conference and everyone here, scientists, farmers fraternity, we are wishing you a very happy and blessed happy birthday, Professor. We are resuming our proceeding here, Dr. Hari. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I am so blessed, it's coincide with my presentation, Thank you so much. Coming to the topic, biofortification is start with the baseline in every crops, and some of the example is don't think that every certain percentage we are increasing, we call it as biofortified. No, not at all, and it can't be endorsed by the system. System has its own standards and baseline to measure and allow the metrics to be flourished for the people. For example, anything to be consumed on regular basis for a particular time that has to reflect in human health intervention. So that's the baseline what has taken into consideration to put the the target level. So here the example you can understand better, the commercial varieties, the parents of the commercial varieties, and the germplasm. Previous session is, was talked about more of germplasm, and this all put together if shown that, the target level which is particular to pearl millet is none of them meeting the target. Okay, what farmers grow, the photocrop, what farmers grow is below the what actually it has the micronutrient level spread. But mostly fall is the 40 to 45. That's why earlier presentation Dr. Tara mentioned that 42 is very important. So therefore the varieties are in place. It's not just carry the nutrition, it carry other traits. Therefore farmers can adopt. So there is earliness. So somebody's talk about the soil, and the earliness is suitable for dry land, and there is a methodology available to how to we can choose better variety for earliness, not needed to biofortified everything. We can also select the crop based on the nutrition, say for example calcium rich finger millet variety which is already exist. So pearl millet is also shown as as I indicated, that after consumption it has to improve the nutritional level, which has done in 4 months and 6 months after. In fact, it reversed the anemia of the group which has fed for 6 months. So the heat tolerance also is going to affect. This is our research is indicate that really is millet cannot escape, but maybe escape for 1 or 2 decades, but it will be also be affected. Then imagine about other highly fine cereals effect. The challenges are remain, but India grows 5 million hectares as of today biofortified varieties. Tamil Nadu, is any of you present here researcher or government, please take note of the 20 district cannot be achieved unless we put the right priority in place and cooperation with, collaboration with the center like MSSRF or any other national and international organization. The key message is the nutrition is a heritable traits in plants. Therefore, no need to worry much unless you have the cautious selection. So therefore, policy is needed and prediction method to be improved based on the most advanced stages. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being so kind to be almost on time. And I will now invite Dr. Srijit Mishra, professor, He is from the Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research in Mumbai. He is a professor and dean of the institute, and his research focuses on development-related issues, social philosophy, and applied development. Among other work, he studied the farmer's suicide in Maharashtra, which led to policy outcomes like the debt waiver. He has been a guest scholar at several other universities, including, for example, London School of Economics, where he got a Subir Chaudhuri Fellow, and he's also professor at National Cheng Chi University. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Carlo, and I am honored and humbled to be here on the occasion of MSSRF celebrating Professor Swaminathan's birthday. And next slide. Okay, so I would say that the working on various policy schemes, I will focus a bit on Odisha. There are many speakers on Odisha, so I'll see that I don't overlap on some of them, but somewhere implicitly, if not explicitly, the work started with an inclusive philosophy which borrowed from Ambedkar, Gandhi and Rawls. So to put it very simply, like if there are crops that were orphaned and neglected like the millets, lands like marginal lands or rain-fed areas, or vulnerable populations, tribals, Adivasis, Dalits, women and all. So the focus was on multiple domains, on the left out, those the have-nots or the marginalized often. So now to look at the focus, what is it that was troubling? When the program, let us started in 2016, some of our exercises were the supply and demand way of looking at things. Being an economist, we bring this to kind of things. Anthropologists say that these are our totems, though we don't agree with each other on what our totems are. Like a macro will have totems and a microeconomist will have totems. But given by our totems, what we will say here, the hashed lines I have put, conventionally the darker lines are the real scenarios, but I have put the hashed lines are the real scenarios, and the darker lines deliberately are the ones which are the farmers perceives or the consumer perceives. Now, the point that I want to make here is that when the consumer perceives a darker line to the left, then the equilibrium shifts in such a way that the consumer ends up paying a higher price. And similarly, when the farmer perceives a darker line, that is the blue line, to the lower, then farmer perceives as if the demand is low and ends up selling the quantity at a lower price. So the farmer sells at a lower price, the consumer buys at a higher price. So this is what many of the speakers have been talking about. And this, in a sense, given our knowledge from various other initiatives of the government and various other state governments, made us think then that the intervention should be in 4 verticals, say production, processing, marketing, and consumption, and which can of course go beyond various way of looking at it. But one point which Dr. Gopi told that I should be focusing a little bit on the economic and the marketing part of it. So the background that those totems were because of that, the supply demand that we economists bring into our thinking. So now one thing of our understanding is that the production, when you look at production, which everyone is talking about, the production should go up, productivity should go up. Now coming to that, given the baseline based on a perception of what those farmers who get into the program in 2016-17 were. So one observed that in 17-18, that there was a 44% increase in area, then 120 or odd percent of increase in yield per hectare or rupees per hectare if one looks at the value terms. But rupees per household, because of this both area and yield effect, has increased by 216% or nearly 3 times of what it was. Recently, this Odisha Millet Mission, if one wants to say that it was a combination of academia, government, civil society coming together, one part of the academia, which was in some sense also linked to one of the students, a number of students working on their PhD. One of the students recently defended her thesis, and based on a fieldwork in Nuapada, one of the drier areas of Odisha, points out that the farmer perception of why yields have increased in the millets, Odisha Millets Mission, because of some of the agronomic practices, system of millet intensification, seed treatment, weeding frequency, and receive training, even when we controlled for many other scenarios there. So this is from the producer. Millets are good for the producer, but sometimes we try to think that it may not be good for the farmer, but this experience shows that it is good for the producer, it's good for the farmer also, and coming to the marketing perspective, and this is something which I first presented perhaps a couple of months ago at the conference in TNAU. So to look at it, that the thinking, the 4 verticals that we are talking about, or the supply demand mismatch that we are talking about, if we want to fill that gap, it has to come from the farm to the plate. And broadly speaking, we said 4 verticals, that 4 verticals now be put into 7-8 sub parts of it: production, storage at the farm level, then primary processing, procurement, further storage after post procurement by public or private, whoever procures it, then transportation from the procurement places to consumers, because the short shelf life that people have talked about in millets, and the value addition that we are talking about in consumption. Now, to point this out, one should say that this crop, for this biotic abiotic advantages that it has, which
you have 1 minute.
Yeah, I'll finish it. So it's good for the planet, it's good for the farmer, and it's good for the consumer. Many SDGs converge with it, and this triad that we have been talking about, knowledge, policy, and practice, should go together. So there are various recommendations from the People's Convention of Millets for Millions in February 2023. So how we should break barriers in millet productivity through this sustainable intensification, which has been talked about since yesterday, strengthening the biodiversity of millets through community managed seed systems, and promoting people-centric approaches. So the final side that I would say is that what I have been talking about, we should have the lessons that we get from various positive success stories, which we will hear more tomorrow. Dinesh is here, Dr. Padi is coming over. So it should be inclusive thinking, neglected crops, marginal lands, and vulnerable peoples. We should address the supply-demand mismatch by focusing from farm to plate. And then each aspect of this millet value chain should be having that knowledge, policy, practice triad that we are talking about. And returns to farmers and their perception is very important if you have to bring in. I don't have time for stories to talk about, but then this thinking about the exchange between any transaction that we are talking about in this value chain, there is a bidirectional transaction of goods going, money coming, but it is not just about goods and money. Like someone told in the morning, I think the minister, Women and Child Health Minister, she pointed out that it should be talking about soil, it should be talking about other health factors. So this bidirectional component goes beyond just money and goods. We economists just not confine only to money and goods. We definitely take things beyond that. And KPP, so that's the interaction. So there are potential that the recommendation from the People's Convention and the innate advantages of millet also syncs with the SDGs goals that we have been talking about, and it is possible to bring things together. I'm not saying there won't be challenges. There are thousands of challenges as we take things forward, but I think given the time paucity, I'll stop there. Thank you, Dr. Carlo, and everybody here.
Thank you so much for the effort of presenting such a dense presentation in a short period of time. I would now call Dr. Ravi Kesavan. He's the director of the Center for Plant Breeding and Genetics, the NAU. He has more than 28 years of experience in teaching, research, and extension. He developed and released 25 crop varieties and hybrids in diverse crops such as cotton, maize, pigeon pea, and millets. He has led the millet mission in Tamil Nadu for 2012. And he has also, as a professor, he mentored over 15 MSc and 6 PhD students. He works with national and international partners. He has received numerous awards, including 1 international and 8 national. He's published 4 books and more than 150 research papers. Doctor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to everyone. I'll be talking on researcher's perspective rather than going into the what millet gives to us. So many of you may not be knowing, TNA is the only research institute which has got crop-based departments. So one among the department is Department of Millets, and fortunately it is celebrating its 100th year this year, which coincides with International Year of Millets. So it was established in 1923. You can see from the photograph here, the one which was taken during 1940s and the present day Department of Millets. And many varieties which were ruling the earlier days, 50s, 60s, were released from this institute. And Sir Rao Bahadur G. and Rangasamy Iyengar was the first millet specialist. From 1923 to 1941, he was the first millet specialist from Tamil Nadu. He worked with TNAU. And if you look at some events like 7:32 a.m. as a male cereal line of pearl millet, which was released in 1959 from TNAU, and 3 chance hybrids of pearl millet, X1, X2, X3. Many of the students might have studied this. This is from TNAU. And another male cereal line from sorghum was also released from TNAU, which was done by Vidya Bhushanam in the early 1970s. And till date, Department of Millets has released 94 varieties and hybrids in millets. And apart from millets, we have 5 more centers. They have released 31 hybrids and varieties in millets. So we do have a Ramaya gene bank where we conserve germplasm. We have around 28,812 germplasm lines which are stored under medium, long, and cryo, and out of which more than 35% is from millet group. You can see here 10,876 germplasm lines of millets are being stored, and we are also characterizing all these millets. Our madam is there, Dr. Nirmala Kumari madam. She was a millet breeder there with us earlier, and she was also involved in characterizing these small millets. And I'll be talking about a few crops where we have been working. Sorghum, we are working to identify the metabolome profile of different germplasm lines. We have characterized 252 lines, and out of which we could found a few SNPs are related to chalcone synthase, which is involved in plant defense mechanism, and also CYP51 function which gives ergosterol. And coming to the biofortification, and we know Govindaraj is also from TNAU. He was the one who was involved in biofortification. So we also started characterizing our germ plasm lines for biofortification, especially iron and zinc. We found that the iron content ranged between 22 ppm to 114 ppm in case of pearl millet, while zinc it was ranging between 19 to 80 ppm. And from utilizing these lines, we have released one hybrid CoH10 last year, as indicated by Dr. Tara Madam, and it has got around 60 ppm of iron and 40 ppm of zinc. And coming to the small millets, they are self-pollinated crop. Inducing variability is needed for any breeder. So we used mutagenesis to induce few mutants in case of Kodo millet and with Proso millet. Kodo millet, now the labor shortage is too much, so we have to go for mechanization. Most of the Kodo millet varieties are lodging ones. We want to have non-lodging Kodo millet mutants which mature earlier and at the same time. So you can see here we could be able to find a few mutants which are having very thick internodal length and non-lodging type. You can see here the range is from 29 millimeter to 49 millimeter, the stem girth. And we also tried with push-pull gauge how the degree of lodging is there in those mutants. You can see the third photograph where this is our lodging wild type, this is our non-lodging mutant. And similarly, if you look at the sclerenchyma cells in the extreme mutants, the thickness is too much. That's why they are not lodging at all. You can see the left one, the first one is our wild type, the center one is non-lodging mutant, and the right one, it is also mutant, but it's of lodging one. And this photograph also clearly says the thickness of sclerenchyma tissues. Not only that, some photosynthetically effective mutants. We know it is a C4 crop. They are already photosynthetic efficient, but still we want to know, because there were few genotypic differences among the Kodo millet for photosynthetic efficiency. So now we could be able to isolate one mutant which is highly photosynthetically efficient with most number of stomata per unit area. And in case of Proso millet also, because everyone is talking about fodder, India we have 20 to 22% of fodder shortage. Millets are the best choice for alternate fodder for sorghum as well as for pearl millet. So we could be able to get few mutants which are having high fodder quality. You can see here, this is the photosynthetic efficient lines. Yes, I will be finishing. And some of the mutants are with good fodder quality also. And we do have early flowering mutant. Already Proso millet is early variety. It matures in 60 to 65 days. We have few mutants which matures in 50 to 55 days with the same yield as that of our varieties. You can see the early flowering mutants, they are good also. In case of millet promotion activities, we have already established 12 millet clusters in Tamil Nadu, utilizing funds from Tamil Nadu innovative initiatives, and we have taken up seed production also. Trainings and field days are being conducted. And after the inauguration of our millet celebration, International Year of Millet Celebration on 11th of January by DDG ICR, till date we have organized more than 390 events on millets alone during this year till date. And we also organized one international millet conference. And we are also supporting the Tamil Nadu Millet Mission by way of providing breeder seeds, because seed quality is very much important in case of millets, because the farmers are not using quality seeds. And these are the few strategies which we have to use. Good quality seeds, you have to strengthen the value chain, replacing the low yielding cultivars with high yielding early maturing cultivars. We have to set up procurement centers as that of rice or other crops, because we don't have any procurement center. And promotion of millet-based processing industries. Then we have a huge quantity of wastelands available in Tamil Nadu which can be used for cultivating millets, and it is a good alternate fodder source, and we have to set up millet clusters too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making a difficult job easy by sticking to time. I would now like to invite Dr. Ravi Kesavan. She's at the, no, sorry. Yes. Dr. Prabhavati. She's the Director of Biotechnology at MSSRF. She's working on rhizosphere microbial diversity and identifying beneficial bacteria and sustainable agriculture. She has demonstrated efficacy of integrated nutrient management using bioinoculants in enhancing yields, millet, pulses, rice, and spices. So very important for sustainable agriculture and agroecology to use soil biodiversity to support production. So she has supervised PhD scholars, she published numerous peer-reviewed articles and book chapters, and she received the Best Woman Scientist Award from the National Academy of Biological Sciences. So a big round of applause, very much on time. And sorry, since you were not here, we have strict rules because of time. You have 5 minutes.
Sorry, and thank you for this opportunity. Today I will be talking about the importance of preserving the soil health, or the role of soil health in contributing to the production of finger millet, and the lessons learned from MSSRF. So this topic is how biofertilizers can be a nexus or a connection or a continuum for improving finger millet productivity and also for enhancing soil fertility under marginalized agro ecosystems. So I think for the past 2 days, we have been listening about what is the nutritious value of millets and how millets can be very important as a nutrition source for addressing non-communicable diseases, for health benefits, etc. And though we are aware about all the health benefits of nutrition, the production of this nutritious crop have been declining over the past years. So here I have just listed what are the different, this picture shows what are the different types of millets that are available, and what are the nutritious properties of these millets. So this slide actually shows the millet map of India and also the production, a recent data which was published by APIDA in the year 2020, where it shows Uttar Pradesh contributes to nearly 20% of the production, and production from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka is very less, about 2%, and so hence there is scope for enhancing the production of millets to a large extent. This graph clearly says that there is a decrease in the area of production as well as the productivity, but the yield, there is yield enhancement must be. This reflects due to the different technologies that are currently adapted, which contribute to enhance yield production of different millets. So this is again another graph which depicts the different production of the different millets exclusively from India. With the Kodo millet, you see the 100% yield is achieved, and the different millets is shown here. And with all this background, we know there is a demand to enhance production, and before that, we have to be more conscious about or be aware about what are the constraints that contribute to enhancing the production or productivity of millets. So majorly, if you see, millet is mainly cultivated under marginalized condition, especially in hilly terrains or less fertile soil, mainly by the tribal communities. And when you explore, it is mostly you see they use traditional varieties, which is mainly cultivated by these communities. So hence, there is low yield in the productivity, and as I already said, there is a decline in the area under cultivation. I think last session also we saw the occurrence of disease and pest also is a threat, especially blast disease in finger millet nearly contributes to 70 to 80% of yield loss. And also availability of good seed is another challenge. And also we are talking a lot about the processing facility which has to be enhanced. And also not but least, it is low investment in research and development. So with this scenario, our research focus is mainly on looking at the soil health, how by improving the soil health or the soil biodiversity, how along with the other technologies we can enhance the production of millets. So for this, we had a very strong research background looking at the rhizosphere related microbes, especially focusing on the plant growth beneficial bacteria which are associated with the millet rhizosphere, and this and isolated the beneficial pseudomonas exclusively, and also did a fingerprinting of these isolates. We had more than 1,650 isolates and did a fingerprinting of it and saw what is the clusters, how they are clustering, and we were able to see that about there is a CFU of 4 point odd, and then screen them for their PGPR activities. We have a lot of screening tests where we can study the plant growth promoting traits of these bacteria and screen them for their plant growth promoting property of each cluster. The first graph shows how each cluster contributes, or it produces IAA and also produces chitinase, different type of functions, and how it can enhance plant growth. And this picture where you can see how, not only understanding the plant growth promoting efficiency, it has to be screened by treating it as seed treatment or whatever it is. This picture also shows, here you see the ones treated showing lesser germination compared, the ones which are controlled, which have not been treated, is showing lesser germination and lesser growth of the root and seed, while when it receives plant seed treatment, you find the growth is higher. Similarly, we have screened them for their biocontrol activity, and after these screening facilities, we have taken it for testing it under field conditions. Extensive field studies have been taken up for nearly 5 to 6 seasons, where we tested them mainly in intercropping systems with pigeon pea. And here you can clearly see, show that the green bar shows that when you combine these AMF and PGPR, the seed germination, the growth rate, etc. is very high. And when you apply these bioinoculants, this graph shows how when you apply these bioinoculants either in the monocrop or in the intercropping or only in pigeon pea, you find the enhancement in the yield. When either in the intercropping system or in the monocropping system. The first figure shows how especially AMF and PGPR, when they are combined together, a consortial effect enhances productivity. And when you combine with 50% of recommended dose of INM, so you can cut down on 50% of the chemical fertilizers straight away when you inoculate these bioinoculants, but without compromising on the yield of finger millet. Just to show, these pictures show how the farmers themselves, the millet cultivating farmers, were involved in these trials, because it had 20 treatments testing different combinations of these bioinoculants, and also for more than 5-6 seasons, and also different crops, legumes, not only pigeon pea, but also cowpea, etc., where all these combinations also showed us that with 50% cut in the chemical fertilizers, you get yield which was on par with 100% of recommended dose of fertilizers. So this clearly shows that you need not overdose the soil with high chemical inputs. By augmenting these bioinoculants, you can cut down on the chemical fertilizers. This was also demonstrated by adoption by OFT trials. And in another study which was taken up in Odisha, here we did number of trials, more than 940 trials for 3 seasons, at least in a half a acre, along with the farmers. Here in 3 different regions, you can see in the INM, that is integrated nutrient management, along with bioinoculants, enhanced the yield of millet, in addition to the other systems of cultivation like line transplantation and also system of millet intensifications. So these are some of the feedback from the farmers which were observed. And also here in this slide you can see not only inputs, integrated nutrient management, also augmenting different organic fertilizers also enhanced yield. So slowly, though we cannot straight away switch on to the biofertilizers or to the organic inputs. By integrated nutrient management, you can enhance the productivity of millets
Sorry,
to
you
a
need to
larger
close.
scale. So I'm just closing up. Thank you very much. We are also looking at the diversity and how it is happening, and we could generate very good publications out of this research. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this very interesting presentation. We now have the next speaker, Dr. Samuel Sampat Kumar Patro. He is the principal scientist and head at AICRP on small millets in Vizianagaram. He's a plant pathologist. He identifies 4 new diseases for finger millet and 3 in sugar cane. He developed eco-friendly management strategy for banded blight diseases in millets and blast disease in finger millets. And he released new varieties in finger millet as well as a breeder. He's focused on small millets, including finger millet, foxtail millets, and other. And he received awards like EAAS International Award for Environmental Agriculture, Award of Excellence in Plant Pathology from the Songyan government, and more. The floor is yours.
So most esteemed chairman of the session, distinguished scientists and ladies and gentlemen. So very good afternoon. So welcome to International Year of Millets. So myself, Dr. Patro, working as a principal scientist, and so this is one of the most important moments in my life, and happened in 1997. So when I joined in IRI New Delhi, so I met the Professor Swaminathan. So actually, about to join in the about to go for the civil services, but actually, so because of this intervention, actually I changed my mind and joined in the agriculture stream. And this is the paper actually after getting the award at the SARC conference at Sri Lanka. So there's this paper stating that actually I had chosen the path of Professor Swaminathan. So as you know, like the climate change is the biggest threat to our country, and because of the rise in the temperature, so the glaciers actually they're getting melted, and because of the global warming, the people are predicting that if the rise in temperatures of the climate 1 or 2 degrees centigrade more than this, there's a threat to the rice and wheat. So what is the solution to mitigate this challenge? The millets can only take the India's food basket the climate resilient. So already I've seen there's so many benefits of the millets for the last morning. Since morning. So the one thing is millets, they offer threefold security to the country. That is food security, nutritional security, and of course environmental security. So this is the best thing is this got the C4 photosynthetic ability. So they got the more productivity than any other crops. And this is already the top producing millet countries. Of course, India is the best. And these are they generally considered as the God's own crop. So this is International Year of Millets. So Government of India is coming with many programs. Already morning we discussed. It has got tremendous health benefits. And Prime Minister mentioned in the Man Ki Baat program as well as in the last budget. So Nirmala Sitharamanji mentioned that she coined the term Sri Anna. And so we are what we eat. So the millets they got a very, very good healthy benefits. There's a time for a change now. So we need to earlier it is considered as a poor man's diet. Now it is considering as rich man's diet because of lifestyle disorders. And the millets they're affected with the various biotic and abiotic stresses. So blast is the major problem. So our center is the hotspot of the blast research in the country. So this is we not only diagnosing disease problems, but also come out with outstanding management strategies. And it was released at All India level by the Honorable Assistant Director General as recommendations. So this is morning, we're talking about, Dr. GP Singh is talking about the agro-biodiversity program. So our center has contributed leaps and bounds in this program for the last decade and identified certain, the promising lines, resistant, trait-specific germplasm and resistant lines for blast and banded blight. So these are the another major problem is like a banded blight along with the blast. So we come out with 2 different recommendations. So blast recommendation as well as bacterial leaf sheath and blight. And this is we got more than 25 resistant lines have been registered with NBPC Delhi. And we also characterize the pathogenic variability among these pathogens. And actually, this is actually, as I mentioned, it is actually now food for the 21st century. So there is a concern for the tribal farmers. Actually, there's the major constraints in the tribal villages because these particular crops were grown mostly in the tribal areas and the hilly areas and the resource poor actual situations. So actually, we are having the collaboration with the Indian Institute of Millet Research, that Eclipse system, and of course the Department of Agriculture, and of course Integrated Tribal Development Authority and other national institutes, and especially the NGOs. So they're coming out actually very well to reach the farmers. So actually the role of our research stations is the quality seed production. Morning, Dr. Irish is talking from Philippines. She's talking about seed production as and marketing as the major actually constraint in reaching the millet the seed to the millet crop expansion. So we are taking up actually the seed production as a challenge. So the Department of Agriculture, every year almost we are producing 10 tons of breeder class and foundation class seed, and these are the varieties actually released from our center. They're trait specific and actually with different durations, short duration, long duration, and of course this is the first biofortified variety in the country, in the finger millet, released by the Honorable Prime Minister of India 2020 in the name of Indravati. So it is actually the short duration varieties. So this is the seed distribution, and actually we are working among the tribal farmers with the support from the Indian Institute of Millet Research and other agencies of ICAR. So we are distributing quality seed production and organic production. So actually we want to actually doing the capacity building programs and developing seed hubs with the support of ICAR and IMR, and also doing the extension activities like frontline demonstrations, scheduled caste suppliants. We're also with the support of IMR. Last year we distributed 4 processing units. And actually, we are actually making the farmers, the tribal farmers, as entrepreneurs. And of course, this is a tribal supply program, and also conducting the awareness programs. The farm mechanization is intercrop, and actually, Madam is talking about the intercropping with the finger millet with the pigeon pea, so another and different crops like pulses. So we also supplying the duplex poultry units actually for cattle actually, so poultry and for cattle also actually this particular millets are actually they're contributing a lot in the form of fodder as well as the grains. And this is a processing unit supplied by our institute, IMR. And of course there is a value chain, millet value addition. And actually thanks to Orissa Millet Mission, the people from Orissa, they're coming in a big number and getting the training program, 5 days training program each batch every week. So they're getting the training program from our center, and we trained more than 1,000 farmers for the last 4 years. And these are the actually nutrition, composition. These are the various products developed at our center. And we have got the food processing and certification and the processing unit certification. We're also giving the training programs, organizing the big mega Kisan Melas every year, so frequently to actually exchange the ideas between the farmers and the scientists interface. And of course, we are having some actually validation, natural farming also we are promoting. So actually the tribal supply, and these are the programs, and we are also working actually very intensely with the FPOs and our farmers actually right now actually in our midst. Srimati Saraswati is there, she is from Arogya Millets, and she got the Vice President Award, and this lady actually from Manyam, she got the Nari Shakti Puraskar from Honorable ex-President of India, and also we have got actually so many actually awards and contributions from our center. She actually is instrumental in actually writing 1 lakh letters to the Honorable Prime Minister to incorporate the millets in the midday meal program. So these are some of the publications released from our center. We got recognitions from actually the Thailand, so Bangkok Association of Agriculture Technologists, and we also got ICR Award, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad Award, and last year we got this Government of India and IMR Award, and every year we are getting the best center from the IMR for the last 1 decade continuously, not only from the university and our center. So finally, I will request that actually you had to add millets to your diet. So thanks for your patient hearing.
Thank you so much. We now have the last speaker, Ms. Remati Giuria. She is a farmer from the Bamande Farmers Producer Company in Odisha. Thank you. The floor is yours. You have 2 minutes.
नमस्कार मोर ना लानी रायमती गिउरिया मोर ना लानी रायमती गिउरिया मो गाँ ना नुआगुड़ा लिमा पंचायत कुंद्रावल कोरापुट जिला ओडिशा मैं गोटे महिला चाषी हिसाब रे काम करतिली सिटी मते 2-3टा देसी वेराइटी रो मांडिया तिला सिटा देसी वेराइटी रो 2-3टा तिला हमर स्वामीनाथन आज्ञा बनाइले आसिकी मते सहयोग कले अशेष धन्यवाद अजी जीवा मांडिया को मते आनी देले आणलारु मुई 40 प्रकार बिहन कली देसी वेराइटी रे आउरी ताको लाइन लाइन करी लगैली ताको बिहन बंचैली ता सते आरी मुई 124 प्रकार देसी बिहन डेमो करी गोटे जगह रे लगैली सेठी अरविंद सर आस्तिले आसिकी मते देखले और बहुत खुशी हेले खुशी करी मते डाकिले भुवनेश्वर रे सेठी गोटे अवार्ड देइतिले आउरी मुई मंडी आमर बामन देई पटेश्वर कंपनी रे मुई डायरेक्टर अछि आउरी चासी मन के बुझौची केंती चाणा रोजगार करि पारबो केंती चाणा मांडिया रे अधिका लाभ पाइबो सेटा मु चासी मन के भी बुझे की कहूची कहले हमर मंडी रे आमी ए वर्ष किनितिलु कि आगामी वर्ष मिजा किनिलु आमर जेतकी टार्गेट देइतिले सेतकी आमिरो मांडिया किनिलु आउरी सरकार को देलु आउरी ता सते तो चासी आमर बिहन पांटी अछि बिहन पांटी रे केतरा बिहन आमी रखिचु 40-70 प्रकार आमर देसी बिहनटा आमर बिहन पांटी रे रखिचु सीटी आमर चासी मन आसुचंती आमर बाटी मांडियाटा बहुत पसंद करचंती बाटी मांडियाटा ए वर्ष भी बहुत किछि चासी नै चंती लगैचंती और आगामी वर्ष को ताकू केंती आगू बढ़ाइबा पई मो अरविंद सार को भी कहिची केंती हमरो बाटी मांडिया आगू जीवो केंती चासी मन केंती रोजगार करि पारिबे बिहन आकारे हो कि कालटारे बिकबा को सिटा मुई अरविंद साड़ी को कहिची और सिटा बाटी मांडिया हमरो लोक पड़ी जाउतिला गोटे चासी पाखरे तिला सेटा आनी कि आमी बढ़ाइचु से चासी रु आनी कि पुंजा पर आनी कि सिटा बहुत करिचु एबे आमे बिहन आकार रखिचु सिटू नेले चासी मन करचंती आउरी हमरो केतरा मांडिया अछि बाटी मांडिया जना मांडिया कांगरा मांडिया आउरी जना मांडिया कांगरा मांडिया चिल्का मांडिया आउरी अछि हमरो से और आमी मांडी रे ए वर्ष जतकी टार्गेट दिला सेती किनलु और करके भी देखैलु और हम चासी मन भी बोल चाणा रोजगार करि पाइले और मु एती गई के रहउची नमस्कार
Thank you.
Raimati, she is a custodian farmer of millets in Odisha. Actually, from the very beginning, she had not much millet varieties, and gradually she collected millets varieties from land races from different regions, and she is having more than 40 land races cultivating herself in her land, and she has also a seed bank in her village, and in that seed bank more than 70 land races of millets are there. She is also taking care of that seed banks, and last year there was 124 accessions of millets. She demonstrated in her land provided by Odisha Millet Mission through IIMR, and Dr. Padhi, Arvind Padhi, Principal Secretary of Agriculture Department Government of Odisha, he visited that area, and he was very much fascinated with this, and he called upon her to Bhubaneswar for a program, and he facilitated her, and now she is also member of that advisory committee of IYM 2023 in formed by Government of Odisha. So that is the credibility she has achieved with her work, and one more thing she spread that Bati Mandia that is in the that is named as Kundra Bati, and going to be released as farmers variety, and it will be in the seed chain very shortly, and that is also declared by government of Odisha. So that is also her effort in that, and that is maybe in the first time in India a farmers variety is going to be released. So she expressed this and thanks expressed her thanks to Dr. Padhi for his effort to help her. Thanks.
Thank you. Sure.
And the one thing that I would like to add there is that, so if you recall, I began by saying that there were 3 spaces of vulnerabilities that Odisha Millets Mission was addressing. One was neglected or orphaned crops, and the second was marginal or rain-fed areas. And the third was vulnerable peoples like Adivasis, women. And she actually represents a success of all the 3.
Thank you. We have now time for 2 questions. They need to be short and they need to be one per person. The gentleman there.
Good afternoon. I am Professor Ramanan from Benares University campus at Kanchipuram. It's an institute for promotion of rural entrepreneurship and development. So the question is to Indian Institute of Millet Research Director Madam and also to TNAU. See, there are no specialized entrepreneurship development programs on millets. This is a year of internal millets. There are no specific programs, number 1. Number 2, the banks are still reluctant to grant advances to millet entrepreneurs, and they see them as the same regular one, whether there is market, there is what is the sales arrangement you are having. So they need to be educated on different lines. These are the 2 observations from the rural areas, because we are promoting entrepreneurship in Kanchipuram and other areas, Uttarameru, Randavasi. There are a lot of millet production, but the farmers are cultivating, but it has to be converted into value-added products. So the problem is that the farmer product organizations have been formed with the support of the government of India, but there are no project profiles, number 1. It has to be put up in the Udyam Mitra website also. My request to Satyavati Madam to form some committee for this, so that you break some profiles on those lines, so that it will promote entrepreneurship, number 1.
Yeah.
Second thing is the financing arrangement with the concerned banks and the NABARD and all that. Some special schemes of subsidy should be introduced. The normal way of looking at a project will not help, because I am also an ex-banker. If you look at from the existing bankers' norms and all that, it will not fit in.
Okay. Thank you.
So these are my 2 observations.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe the second question, there is a gentleman there, but I would like to know if there is a woman who wants to raise a question, because we only heard from men.
Should I? Or
Well,
are we
please
waiting?
go ahead.
So my question is to mainly Dr. Tara, and I'm a senior research fellow here with the climate change team. And there's a lot of database about the release of new varieties and crops, especially in millets. But one thing that we often hit a brick wall is when we are looking at when people who are working in policy, there's not a lot of data on the amount of new varieties that are being adopted, or varietal replacement rates and the extent of it. How much variety is, what is the proportion of the a specific variety in the farmer's field? So is there a database that ICR or a lot of the other organizations that are working on millets, and especially considering millets, because most of the new seeds come from the public sector in millets and not from the private seed companies. So is there any database that is in future?
Is clear. Any women for a third question? No men, I won't accept, but if there is a woman who wants to make a question, 1 and 2 and 3.
So, for the concern of Dr. Carlos, the 2 questions asked by men, 2 men, the woman is answering. So for the first question, you were asking about the entrepreneurship programs. We very well have the entrepreneurship development programs at IIMR. NutriHub is the technology business incubator of IIMR, and regularly we have startup ignition programs and then cohort for nest and engrain programs. And we have a number of visitors and trainees taking training in different areas in and around Hyderabad and from different parts of the state and from different states of the country. They do come and visit our facilities and take training. Coming to the entrepreneurship development program, in the startup ignition program, many applications do come to us. We have committees to screen and then the candidates are selected. And in the NEST program, that is again based on the selections, based on the criteria which are fixed by the committees, those startups are the young entrepreneurs who are having good ideas and innovative ideas with good market viability. They are being selected and they are given support of about 5 lakhs per year through RKVB Raftar funding. And again in Engrain program, a financial support of 25 lakhs is given by RKV by Raftar. All these details are available on our website and also on the website of NutriHub. So this is towards your question, sir. The other question raised by the other gentleman who is speaking of the policy innovations and policy details, all the varieties released under millets, the information is being sent and is updated on our websites and also to the ICAR and DAFW. We do have regular information that is shared with all other concerned agencies. And we have the gazette notification from Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare in the Indian Gazette also gives the details of all the varieties that have been identified which were released through the central release, and the details are all again published in that, and you can also find in our publications as well. And many of our publications are available on the website. So for the pearl millet, you can look for the information on the ASRPN pearl millet. For the small millets, you can see on the ASRPN small millets, and then sorghum on ASRP sorghum. Apart from this, all these three, you have the links connected on our website at IIMR. So the information is very much available. It's only how we look at and how we retrieve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
At TNU, we have a separate agribusiness directorate where we develop entrepreneurs. And this year we have developed 25 entrepreneurs on millet-based products. And we handle them for 3 years until they get funds and they become a startup. We have a separate program. So you can contact, anyone is interested, they can contact the Agribusiness Development Directorate of TNU. It's available in our website also.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that we have hand-holded nearly 400 startups who are there having their presence all over the country and also doing good amount of exports across the globe.
Thank you so much. We close this session now. I would like to give a very special thank to the amazing panelists. It's not easy. They've been worked hard to make their presentations and to put together very significant information. And it was really hard for me to cut them short and in the interest of time, but I really appreciate their efforts to communicate and convey the research under this pressured time. So thank you so much.
With this, we come to the end of the session. Our apologies to Dr. Carlo Fada. We handed over a very difficult task to your hands. So now we have few mementos, this souvenirs, this millet packages. We will be back here for after lunch at 2:30? At 2:30. So your lunch is cut to half an hour. Thank you very much to all the speakers and participants once again.
Record